I don't know who needs to hear this, but a lot of us have family members who have undiagnosed mental health issues and do not want to get help for it. And there are tons of reasons why, but none of that matters, because when you spend your time trying to get your elders to get the help that they need, it is keeping you from getting the help you need to transcend and heal the trauma and drama that you experienced.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
I wanted to get on here and I wanted to encourage those of you who may have family members or friends or loved ones who struggle with some form of mental illness. They may struggle with some form of psychosis, be it bipolar mania, schizophrenia, or a combination of both. I wanted to give you 3 things that will help or assist you on this journey. First thing is to not take anything personal, because during this time when a person is experiencing some form of a hypomanic episode or an actual manic episode, some of the things they may say or do may be extremely offensive. So it is very important that you don't take these things personal. I get it. You're human. You have feelings. And some of the stuff can be so brutal, but don't take it personal. This person does not have control of their mental health. They do not have control of their emotions at this time. And for this reason is why I am encouraging you to not take it personal. The second thing is to set boundaries. You may not have the bandwidth or the capacity at a particular time to deal with the outburst or the episode. That's okay. If you don't have that, then you can avoid or you can refrain from being around that person altogether. In fact, many people will see this as like doing them a disservice, but it's actually doing them a service, because it's not good for you if you don't have the bandwidth to lose it. And then now you're in the middle of this particular episode as well, but you have control. You have self-control. You're not struggling with your mental health, though you have been triggered as a result of this person's struggle. Third thing is to be patient. Trust the process. Trust that your prayers are being answered, will be answered. Trust that this too will pass. Trust that you'll learn what you need to know to be able to be of service or to help that person, or to just stay out of that person's space, whatever it is. But trust the process and take care of yourself. That's a part of trusting the process. If you're not well, then you're not going to be able to be there in support of another person being well. So take care of yourself. I hope this helps.
So one of the things I've been thinking a lot about lately is growing up in a household with a lot of negativity and judgmental behavior, and how that can affect how you grow up, how you view other people, how you view yourself, and then breaking out of that and learning the negativity is not yours, it's somebody else's. But as children, oftentimes we just mimic our parents, right? We're literal children. So we behave in ways that we see other people behaving. And that can be the case too with negativity. If you hear your parents talking about people in a really negative way, whether it's their appearance, their behavior, their clothing, if most of the things that come out of their mouths are negative, 2 things can happen. One, you start thinking that everybody is viewing you so critically, and it can make you not want to open up with other people, or it can make you kind of scared to show your true colors because you're scared that people will view you in a negative light as well. And 2, when you express your emotions in a household like this, you can be deemed as dramatic or, attention seeking or whatever, because again, there's so much of a critical nature happening and so much of a judgmental tone on everything that it really skews your perspective. For me, it wasn't until, being in therapy for years and years that I could actually break myself away from that negativity, separate myself from it, and really say, holy shit, that's not my negativity. That's not mine. That's not mine to carry around anymore. That is somebody else's, and that's for them to deal with, but that's not my crap. I'm actually a very positive person, a very loving person. So the thing that's interesting is the more self-work you do and the more progress you make on your own, as I mentioned in another post, the more a distance can grow, because you're in a new spot now, but those other folks that happen to have the negativity, they're still where they were. And so there's this huge chasm in between, and it feels like very strange now because there's this huge gap, and it feels difficult sometimes to communicate, to relate, to feel close, things like that. So it's just part of the progress, but let me know your thoughts. And as always, keep advocating for your own health, keep doing your own research, and love you.
Having a parent that, like, you know deep down is mentally ill is really weird, because it's like, I literally just told my mom, I haven't spoken to my mom in like 2 years, and I just randomly texted her because, you know, like, my sister was telling me about, like, my mom's life when she was younger, and, like, I felt like empathy, so I wanted to reach out to her, and blah, 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 we were talking, and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, like, it was hard because it's like, I felt like you were really mean to me growing up, and, like, you treated me, like, really bad, and, like, I didn't understand why you treated me like that, and I just feel like it was just kind of weird, like, it made me feel worthless. And my mom really texted me of everything that I said in the paragraph. She's like, what are you talking about? You never got whippets. I've only hit you like once or twice in your life. Mom, you whooped me until I was 17 years old, like every week. What are you talking about? So then it's like, I told my siblings, and they were just like, yeah, what is she talking about? She did beat you until you were 17. And, like, my mom genuinely has, like, no, I don't know if she's in denial, but my sister was like, no, she just, like, I think she just blocks out things. So it's like, she genuinely doesn't remember that she did that. And I'm just like, that's crazy. Like, something is wrong with this lady. So then I'm just like, okay, well, now I'm just going to distance myself again, because at this point, I'm like, I don't even know what to say. Because I'm like, what do you mean you stopped beating me when I was young? And you've only hit me once or twice. You beat me, like, every week until I was, like, 17 years old. Like, let's be serious here. And then the weirdest thing about that, she was like, that's just your mind, like, playing tricks on you, like, trying to gaslight me. And I'm like, oh my God, is this mother effer serious right now? Like, and I was like, you know what? I've grown so much in these last 2 years. I'm not even going to be mad. I'm just going to be like, all right, you got that.
One of the parts of emotional neglect as a child that people don't talk about enough is when your family is very overly negative. These are the family systems where losses are highlighted more than wins, where criticizing, gossiping, talking about other people comes to the forefront, rather than not only celebrating your own wins of the children and the family and the adults in the family, but also for, like, being happy for other people. And internalizing that as an adult makes it very hard for you to be happy for yourself when you've done things that are considered celebratory, or even being happy for other people or people around you, or that as an adult you feel like you're performing celebratory moments rather than actually deeply feeling them. Because when you were in positions where you were supposed to be celebrated, or you're supposed to celebrate something else, you were actually highly dissociating, or you were parentified in a way where you had to self-soothe both yourself and then soothe other people around you and your family. Being overly negative as a person is not something that you're born with. It's a learned behavior. Unlearning that not everything needs to be miserable, not every holiday needs to involve conflict and drama. Training your nervous system to actually be happy for yourself even when the wins are small. This is how you actually break generational patterns that for a long time probably seemed like they were just normal.
All right, 3 tips for dealing with a family member who has a mental health diagnosis. Hi, I'm Nicholas Wright, licensed professional counselor. Number 1, educate yourself on the diagnosis. Understand symptoms, treatment options, and potential triggers. Number 2, encourage open communication. Allow them to discuss their experiences, their trauma, their triggers, what they went through, and empathize and provide some validation to their emotions. Number 3, offer support. Show some understanding, patience, and compassion. Maybe even offer to go to some of their appointments with them. Here's a bonus. Practice self-care. Caring for a family member with mental health challenges can be emotionally draining, so it's very important that you take care of you and find some self-care. I hope this knowledge will empower you to offer appropriate support and reduce misunderstandings. Hey, reach out. Peace.
I am the daughter of a woman with paranoid schizophrenia. My mom found out she had schizophrenia when I was about 13, years old, and she's always had it. My grandma talks about it, about things that she did when she was a kid that kind of showed that, like, she wasn't there all the way. My mom and I are going through a lot right now. My mom has blocked me on every social media platform. My mom is afraid of me. She thinks that I am trying to kill her. She thinks I'm doing voodoo on her. She thinks I am trying to make her sick. She thinks I'm jealous of her, and I'm so jealous of her that I am currently doing a bunch of beauty spells and beauty rituals so that I can revive myself and take away her beauty, and basically make it to the point that she's decaying while I'm becoming more alive. I was in foster care pretty much my whole adolescence, from 11 to 18 years old. I was in foster care ever since I was 11 years old. When I became of age, got reacquainted with my mom once I was 19 years old, and I went after a relationship with her. We got really cool. I ended up moving to another state to live with her and basically create a better relationship for the both of us and a better life for me. I already knew that she had schizophrenia, so it wasn't like a big shocker, but the way that she was talking, it seemed like she was okay, because when I was a kid, she would talk about, like, things she would do to me, and, like, she would get really upset at me. She has multiple personality disorder, so she would, like, say different things to me, and she would, like, be different people, and it used to scare me, because, like, when she called me, I never knew who I was going to be talking to, or if she was going to be against me or not. So I ended up staying there, and it was all nice at first, and then slowly but surely things started to go left. So I went living with her. It was good at first, but then I started to notice, like, little subtle signs that she was beginning to have an episode, and that she was also not taking her medication. She has this thing with her husband where she feels like he's doing witchcraft on her. That's actually why I got placed into foster care in the first place, because during an episode she completely lost it. And yeah, we can do a story time on that if y'all want it. But anyway, back to the story. Okay, so she started saying that her husband was doing witchcraft on her, and that he just wants her to be miserable. So she started coming to me and talking to me about that every day. So that's when I started to know, okay, yeah. My mom is also very religious. Most people with schizophrenia are super duper religious. And so we ended up visiting a church, like, the second week that I was there. It was the church that she was going to. And when we went there, she was basically, like, talking about everybody, like, trying to, like, afterwards she was like, oh, like, did you see when they were throwing their hands like this, when they were trying to shoot spirits at me? This is why I don't go to church. These church people are demonic. They trying to stop my shine. She always talks about how people want her to be down, and, like, she'll be, like, seeing people and she'll pay attention to their hands, like, when the family comes around her. No, I'm getting off topic. Fuck. Another sign that showed me that she was beginning to have an episode was when I had a book. I'm a big reader. If you know me, you know that I'm a big reader, and when I'm really in my mode, I read a lot. So I was reading my book sitting on the couch, and she saw it, and she felt like it was a demon book. So she, like, I could tell she was, like, a little scared about it, and, like, she just started acting really weird, and, like, I could tell that, like, she wasn't trying to take me to the library, stuff like that. Like, stuff was starting to get weird. She also, she had a little house connected to her house, which was basically, she had a house connected to her house, which was my house while I was living there. And she would come in and she would be like, I can feel it. I can feel these spirits. It's spirits in here. You bringing spirits in here. And then she would, like, come in and sit by me, or sit on the couch, and I'll be sitting on my bed. It was like a studio house. And she was like, oh, do you smell that? It smells like something foul. It's you. It's a demon on you. It's a demon. Going off on me, saying that I'm defiling her house, defiling her spirit. She's been unhappy ever since I've been coming around. I have really bad, like, skin issues. And it's crazy because, like, I have such a smooth skin tone, and I have, like, great skin, but I have really bad skin issues. So I don't know what was going on in her house. I'm not gonna lie, I smell like mothballs in there. So it might be the mothballs or something, but it would have me itch. I was getting a rash and stuff. So I was itching, and she was like, oh, I can see it. I got you now. That demon, every time you scratch, it's dust coming off you. It's white dust coming off you, and it's coming in my mouth. Then she started coughing, and, like, I didn't even know what to do. Interact with this, and I'm finna really give y'all tea because I have had a very long, stressful, terrifying, and traumatic life because of paranoid schizophrenia. And if you would go and click this video that I commented on, you will see that this lady is a lot like my mom. And if I would to start a series or really speak about it, y'all will see that we need to pray for this lady. At the end of the day, we need to pray for her. We need to pray for her family. We need to pray for her children if she has children. We need to pray for her because at the end of the day, this is a demonic spirit, and this spirit is taking over a lot of people, and it's getting really, really big in the Black community, but it's already been here. It's already been here, and we got to put a stop to this. I don't have a relationship with my mom. I don't have a mom. I don't have someone that looks like me that I can cry to, that I can get advice from, someone that can help me because of paranoid schizophrenia. So, and I don't want to diagnose her or anything. I'm just trying to shed light on the situation and let you guys know what I've experienced with it and what it means to me. I'm Sadidi, y'all. Follow me, love on me, as I love on y'all. God bless you.
I have a female cousin who has a lot of mental health issues, and is addicted to vaping and alcohol as well. And taking care of someone like that, or just constantly being around someone like that, is so draining. I had to care for this person for about 2.5 to 3 months. When I tell you, I was in and out of the hospital because of her addictions every other night, sometimes 4 nights in a row. Bruh, that was one of the hardest things ever. You can love people, you can do whatever you can, but if they refuse to change, there's nothing that you can do, honestly. If they refuse to take accountability for their life and their life choices and how scattered their life is, that is not your issue. Everybody has their cross to carry. And as hard as it is seeing a person that you love and care about, seeing them in that state, at the end of the day, you have your own issues, your own life and life choices to deal with. You cannot be hung up on one person who refuses to change or are incapable of change. If a person spends all their life not learning from their previous mistakes and continuously repeats the same thing over and over and over again and blames external things as to why they do what they do, that person is literally, number one, stressful. It will drain your energy and they're not going to change. So stop wasting your time and energy and effort on them. And it is a hard truth. We had to kick her out of our house, literally. We didn't want to. Like, we brought her initially into our house for her to heal, for her to improve her life, for her to make good choices. But if we bring you into our peaceful home, then you come and you just continuously cause issues and problems and things like that, there's no use for you being there because you're the problem. We already have issues. We already have things that we are stressed about each and every day. And you come into our lives and you just add like 100 times the stress, 100 times the issues, 100 times the problems. We had no choice but to remove her from our house. We're not going to deal with that. 2.5 months to 3 months was more than enough. My anxiety levels were through the roof, literally. My stress levels were through the roof. How can a person have that impact on you? You love this person, you want the best for them, but this person, their whole life is just scattered chaos. And as for you, you like peace, you like being stable and all of these things. And this person is the exact opposite. And you got to get rid of him. It's a hard choice, but you just got to get rid of him. A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And let's continue the video.
Y'all, I want us all collectively to be on the same page when it comes to this. But can we not, if you have something to say, can we normalize calling our friends and family to see how they're doing first and what they got going on before we call them with the 411 or what we got going on in our own lives? Can we do that, like, as a collective? Because you wouldn't want somebody calling your phone with like, hey girl, oh my god, you wouldn't believe yada yada yada. Whole time you're probably having a fucking panic attack and they're not even asking about how you're doing. Let's not do that. Let's be collectively on the same page.
Hi everyone, my name is Haley and I have bipolar disorder, or bipolar as I like to call it. Today, this is for the people who have loved ones, friends, family members, your daughter, your son. If they have bipolar disorder, this video is for you. And I'm going to talk about how to deal with them when they're in that state. Okay, so one, I was talking about like psychosis. So obviously this is when they see things that aren't there, they hear things that aren't there. And so like if you're having a delusion and then you see something that confirms that delusion, that further, you know, feeds that delusion. So a good example for me is, at some point I thought I was a time traveler. Okay, so I asked my mom, like, am I a time traveler? And she said yes, because mental health professionals advise, you know, family members and parents to like go along with their delusions for whatever reason. Like I understand to an extent, but like for me, if my mom was like, Haley, you're not a time traveler, you're just a regular girl, that would have helped me way much more than for her to say you are a time traveler. Because then I'm like, what? I'm a freaking time traveler? And then I go on and like, obviously that like feeds my delusion, so I have even more delusions about how I'm a time traveler. And I also want to point out that mental health professionals in the psych ward, psychiatrists, this and that, they have a lot of research, they have qualifications, yes, but at the end of the day, 90% of them do not have bipolar disorder, so they have no idea what it feels like, what it truly feels like to be in this state, and they are literally just going off of research and what people say. So like, I don't really know, like, there's so many times where I've witnessed parents like just, you know, cast off what their child is saying to them, like in the psych ward, because they're, you know, they're not well, and they put their full entire trust into medical health professionals and the doctors. And at the end of the day, I want to point out that psychiatrists are experimenting on us. They just shove us with medication, because that's how the Western medicine like system is. They just shove you with medication until you literally until you're like a zombie. Because like when I was there, I literally became a zombie. When I first got there, I was not well, obviously, but I saw this girl there that basically was a zombie, and I was like, how did she get like that? Like I was very confused. But a week or two later, when I got out, I was just zombie. I literally was in the kitchen trying to cook something that I love to do, that I always do, and I'm like, I'm asking my boyfriend, I'm like, help me, like I don't know how to cut this. Like I literally felt like I was a toddler. And that's because they pump you with so much drugs, and it alters your brain chemistry so much so that it doesn't even make you a person. And literally 2 days ago, I watched a documentary. I'll put the documentary in the bio because I don't remember the name. But basically, there was this young boy, and he had been on medication from a young age, probably like 9 or 6 or something like that. And when he became in his teenage years, he didn't want to be on medication anymore, and so the doctor took him off of it slowly, and then he spiraled into depression and, you know, ultimately unalived himself. And I think a big part of that is because from the age he was 6 or 9 to the age he was 14 or whatever, that's like all of his life he was reliant on medication, and he had no idea who he was without that. So as soon as he got off of it, it was like, obviously it's a world-altering event where you're like, who am I without these medications that I've been reliant on? And that's why, me personally, I do not advocate for medication. Like I do, but not to the extent where you're like, you take it for long periods of time. And I know that some people might need that, and that's on a case-by-case situation. But if you can avoid it at all costs, I would never want a child to be on medication for their entirety of their life. It really messes with them. They don't know who they are, and it's really sad. I worked at a summer camp, a sleepaway camp, for 3 months. And a lot of these kids that came in, they had a lot of different disorders or whatever, and that's fine. But a lot of them were on heavy medication, so much so that one of the kids, like, literally, like, mentioned to me that they're high. Like, they were like, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that. And, like, she had severe anxiety, so she was on a lot of anti-anxiety medication, which is Xanax. And I would say even if you have anxiety, if you're on Xanax, you're high. And so I'm like, whoa, like this 12-year-old girl is literally living off of drugs. It's like, it's so sad to watch. And there was a lot of them. There was another kid, I think she had, I don't know, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to, like, you know, out these children. But she couldn't even walk properly. Like, she was so, like, hopped up on drugs that she could not walk in a straight line. And so when I'm witnessing that, and to compare her, like, I talked to my director, and she literally was like, yeah, like, last year she was not like this. So in order to solve a problem, what we do in the West is just shove kids with medication that turns them into, like, shells of who they are. So, like, I urge you to not let the doctors, the nurses, whatever, don't let them turn your kids into walking vegetables. Because at the end of the day, God made us self-reliant. He made us all beautiful and perfect just the way you are. So if you think about it critically, do you really think God created a being to be reliant on medication? I don't know. Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a girl at the end of the day, but I'm just thinking about that. Just think about that for a second. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Bye.
My daughter is 12. She's currently in an acute inpatient facility for mental health issues. She will turn 13 in early May. It's a big birthday. We've been waiting for it, you know. I was thinking about having her sent straight from the acute facility into a longer-term residential facility. She doesn't want to do that, but she'd like to come home for her birthday. And then she'll go after. She said she'll agree to go, but she doesn't want to spend her birthday in a facility. I kind of agree with her. I know it's going to hurt me, but I know that it's necessary. I know that this is a necessary evil to get the help she needs, but I'm kind of considering it because, you know, if I can get her into a facility and if she goes right after, then, you know, it's basically the same thing. I mean, there is the risk of if she has rage while she's here, if things don't go well. I just don't know. I think, you know, if I brought her home and she could feel the connection again and the love, that maybe she would go back in with an even better mindset instead of feeling completely betrayed and abandoned and having to work through that also. I don't know.
I woke up years. I have attempted on multiple occasions to talk my brother off a ledge. And every time it's in one ear and out the other, he's done nothing to help himself. And my hands are tied. It's really fun going to work out and thinking about the entire time about how your brother's probably going to go kill himself, maybe. There is absolutely nothing I can do to help him.
Losing a loved one is difficult, but losing a loved one to suicide is traumatic. My husband called me right before he took his life, and I called 911 immediately. However, when they got there, it was too late. I didn't know that my husband had passed until I went to the hospital and I spoke to the doctor, and the doctor gave me the news. A lot of you have asked me if I have sought professional help, and I have. Within a month after my husband passed, my children and I were in treatment, and we were all getting the help that we needed, because I understood that this experience, what we had been through, was something very traumatic for myself and for my children. I understand that it's something that we're going to struggle with lifelong, and most likely we're always going to have to need professional help.
If you grew up in an environment that had an unstable caregiver or family member, you may be somebody who is prone to hypervigilance. What's hypervigilance, you ask? Let me tell you. Hypervigilance is a tendency to monitor, to manipulate, to smooth out, to walk on eggshells, all in an effort to make sure that that unstable person does not have an outburst, that you are not going to have to suffer either actual violence or extreme discomfort when they become upset. Now, this served us incredibly well in growing up. It helped keep us safe. But now, as adults, we do not need to live in that state of hypervigilance. In fact, it's actually inhibiting our ability to heal. Hypervigilance means that we are constantly in a state of fight or flight, meaning that our nervous system is always on high alert. When our nervous system is always on high alert, we can't heal. So if you notice that you are constantly monitoring those around you, walking on eggshells, here's a few things that you can do to help with that and learn to set boundaries. Boundaries are going to be immensely helpful in no longer perpetuating this cycle of me monitoring, you're okay, neglecting my own needs to make sure you're okay. We're done with that. Another really helpful thing is to remind yourself that you are safe. Now, if you're in an abusive situation, this does not apply to you. But if this is just run-of-the-mill hypervigilance, remind yourself that you are, in fact, safe. The little you is no longer in danger, and it is okay for you to let other people have their emotions. Another thing, while incredibly uncomfortable, is to trust that if people have an issue with you, that they will bring it to you, that they will communicate that clearly and effectively. Oftentimes, if we have a tendency to be hypervigilant, we also are around incredibly passive-aggressive people. And we may be questioning all the time, is that person mad at me? Oh, I don't know. They slammed the door. Oh, that text, it had a period at the end of it. Oh, they're probably mad at me. When in reality, it is their responsibility to communicate to you that they have a problem. So if you are a hyper-vigilant person, my invitation to you is to practice any or all of these three things and see how it might make a difference in your life.
Yo, being the only empathetic person in a narcissistic family system is hilarious, bro. It's like being in the military, but y'all not like on duty right now. Like y'all in the store and everybody is like, yes, sir. Like everybody in the store being super militant and you just in there like chilling, vibing, dancing. You in there like to the window, hey, to the wall, you feel what I'm saying? And then the sergeant kind of looking at you because he expecting you to like operate like a soldier in the store. But you just like, bro, we not on duty, we not on base, we just in the store, you feel what I'm saying? You vocal about it. You like, listen, it's no reason to be that serious. So you showing your personality. In a narcissistic family system is the same way. You're showing your emotions, your vulnerability, and you're speaking out on the things that's going on within the family. So they're all, in a sense, being militant. Everybody in your family are being emotionless. Everybody in your family is falling in line to whatever the narcissist want them to do. But it's not in you to be that way. It's in you to be a truth teller. It's in you to be empathetic. It's in you to speak out. Like God created you this way. You feel what I'm saying? But since the narcissist is so egotistical, why did I just say that? Since the narcissist is so egotistical, they think that they run the world, but they don't realize that God is in control and you chosen. They can't get it. So they try to destroy you. They're like, oh yeah, I'm hiding behind this label of MPD on the worldly realm, but I'm really the devil in disguise. And for some magical reason, I created these little disciples, and you're not one of my disciples. But I want to keep you close because I want to destroy you. I want you to think you're not who you are. I want to destroy your image to everybody on this worldly realm. I want to destroy your character. I want to destroy your confidence. I want to destroy your self-esteem. So if you push forward through that, if you persevere through that, you are a powerful person. To have so many people trying to go against you, so many people that hate your qualities, that are actually great qualities, the fact that you made it through that, you one of them ones, for real. Continue to push forward. It's your boy Josh Different. I'm different, you different, we different.
Hi, I'm Dr. DeJuan Reed with Elysian Counseling and Education. Having a mentally ill parent sucks. And don't let anybody tell you differently. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, you shouldn't talk about your parent that way. That's not right. You know, mothers are wonderful, fathers are wonderful. Well, it's a different situation when you have a mentally ill parent. And there's so few people that really understand what that's like. There are even a lot of therapists who can't empathize and who can't relate with that. It's a very difficult experience. And I know personally what that's like. I have been on a journey for years. I've gone through the anger phase where I'm angry at God. You know, God, why did you give me these parents? This is a terrible thing. Do you hate me? You know, what's going on? Especially when I've looked back and I've seen my friends have these beautiful relationships with their parents, where they're able to travel with them and go out to eat and just have normal conversations without a lot of drama and narcissism, eccentricities, just a normal, healthy life. And I've always desired that. So I've gone through that anger period. I've gone through the grief period and recognizing that I'm not going to have it. It's just not going to happen here on this earth. And that's okay. And what's helped me as a Christian is to know that by serving my mother, by loving her and being kind to her and helping her, God is blessing me. And through that relationship of servitude, I've grown in patience, endurance, comfort, love, hope. And it's been a wonderful journey. It's been a difficult journey, no doubt. And one of the things that gives me hope as a Christian is that I know one day when we get to heaven, I think my mom is going to be there. Not so sure about dad, but I know mom is going to be there. I will get to see her as she was meant to be. I will get to see that beautiful spirit beneath the mental illness. Sometimes I see glimpses of that really healthy, loving spirit. And one day I'll get to see it in its completeness, in its entirety, and we'll be together. So I encourage you, if you have a mentally ill parent, seek out people who will listen to what you're saying, who are not going to, ridicule you or try to silence you for talking about your parent. There's support groups out there. NAMI is one that's wonderful. It's a national support group. So I encourage you to, find a therapist that can relate to you or at least empathize to you in your experience with your parent, and to just be strong and to know that it's okay. It's okay that it's difficult. It's not your fault. It's not my fault, but we can grow through this experience as Christians. Thank you.
A lot of times, family members with mental health issues can really hinder your growth in life. You only have a certain amount of time and energy in a single day. And if you spend all your time and effort into one specific person who has all of these issues, at a certain point, it's just like, I have to worry about myself now because you are hindering my growth. You're hindering my life. And at that point, I cannot allow it anymore. Yes, you can be patient, but it doesn't matter how much patience you have for that person. Yes, you can endure, you can be one of the strongest people, but it doesn't matter. The person will probably continue with that. And at that point, they have to be in rehab with actual professionals who know how to handle that. They have been trained in that. They have studied those things. That is the only thing that you can do at that point, because you have to move on with your life. You have to do things for yourself too. You cannot worry so much about another person that you neglect yourself and your needs and your wants as well. So it's a balance, honestly. It's a balance.
Okay, here's something else coming in through for me today that's hitting pretty hard. I think the biggest betrayal for us, people that come from dysfunctional homes, traumatic childhoods, abusive, narcissistic parents, is the absolute betrayal that our family never showed up for us. The one fucking place on the entire earth where we were supposed to be loved, valued, accepted, heard, like poured into so we could grow. Like we didn't fucking get that. And because we didn't get that, we think every single other person out in life that we meet is gonna treat us like our parents, like we're worthless, like we deserve no good, that our voice doesn't matter, and that we just, fuck off, nobody cares about you. Like that betrayal is huge, and that is half the battle. One, acknowledging that happened to you. Like you didn't have a safe place ever to go in your life. And that is so damaging when we don't think we have anywhere safe to be. Holy fuck, man. That's where we stay silent. That's where we keep being abused. We let in these partners that abuse and treat us just like our parents. Like the cycle doesn't end unless we wake up and see these things. And that betrayal from our family cuts deep. And, I wish I could say, you look at it, you feel it, and you move on. But it continually comes up for me. It will probably always come up. I will rub against things that are just like, dude, I have no safe place. Like, I am the safe place. I had to create all this shit. Like, it's a lot and it's hard, but you know what? If you become the safe place, it does get better, because you start seeing, you recognize when you're not heard. You recognize when people hurt you and you're like, what am I doing in this situation? Like, if people hurt you and like your life is not feeling good, you can walk away. And this is where that reparenting piece comes in. When your parents don't see you, they don't watch out for you, they don't provide you with that safety or like a place where you can grow, you have to start doing it for yourself. You have to start connecting to that little inner child. There are many of them. There's not just one. Like, every place you were hurt by your parents, whatever, multiple ages, like there are hurting little children inside of you that need your love, care, and attention. And the sooner you can show up for those children, life will get better. I love you guys.
One of the biggest things I'm struggling with right now is navigating life while having a family member who struggles with alcohol addiction. I honestly haven't talked to anyone really about this other than my therapist and my boyfriend and some of my family members, but I just want to share it, I guess, I don't know, and more so just vent, because I do feel like it's been a huge emotional weight on my shoulders for the past 5 years of my life, and I just hope that there's someone out there who can, you know, either relate to what I'm going through or feel less alone. I have an older sibling who has been struggling just for the past like 10 years, and I'm just tired of this cycle of forgiveness, relapse, forgiveness, relapse. It's just especially hard because they're fully aware of the fact that they need to be sober, but are choosing to not get professional help. I feel like my life has revolved around this person for the past 5 years of my life, and like I'm not allowed to move forward with my own life. I've just become desensitized to getting, you know, text messages from family members or random people telling me about something that has happened to my family member. And I also almost instinctively expect those types of text messages anytime I do something that makes me happy, like go on a trip with friends or I do something that's meaningful to me. It feels like I'm stuck and that I am not allowed to be happy. If anything remotely good or positive happens in my life, then I automatically feel undeserving and guilty, knowing that I have a family member who is struggling. I don't want to go too far into detail. It's just like the main feelings that I've been having for the past few years. I'll probably share more in like other TikToks, but yeah, those are just some thoughts I've been having lately. And yeah,
my daughter, who's 17, struggles so much with deep depression. I don't just mean like a little sad, full on, do I want to be on this planet anymore? No, I don't. Harm. This has been years. This has been multiple years, and we're in that deep cycle again now. And this is my whole ass of profession. Okay, so I have to pull on my own skills for myself, because yes, you have to protect yourself. You can't navigate somebody wanting to remain here. You can't navigate someone wanting to get their own help, and you can't navigate that mindset switch. It's something that they have to do. Now, that being said, I'm able to provide the resources. You know, we've done the things. We've done the inpatients. We've done the things that I know, and I'm fortunate to be able to articulate things to her psychiatrist that I can see from more of a mental profession. So we're kind of back to like, what's this going to look like? What's the treatment plan? What's the medication? And in the process of that, which we're like in the heart of it, like, I mean, in the throes, the deepest, darkest part of the throes right now, I have to protect myself. I can't allow this to spiral me. You have to give yourself permission to do that. I should probably make this multiple videos because it's not going to be done in one.
What can you do when you have a family member that is suffering from depression, isolation, anxiety, severe mental health issues, and that person's behavior is affecting the whole family? What can you do? You need intervention. You need crisis intervention. That's when you call someone like me or a professional that would come in and look at the whole family system to see what is working and what is not working, and then gather some information from every single member of the family, then put all the pieces together, and then try to meet the family member that is hurting exactly where that person is, and provide unconditional love and support, do some assessment to make sure the person is not suicidal, and then get the proper help the person needs.
Don't mind under my eyes, it's skincare. But I just realized I don't see a lot of content with adult children of parents who suffer from mental health issues and what it's like, you know, growing up in that experience and how it's affected your adulthood. And I realized maybe I should be the one to speak on it. So my mother was diagnosed with bipolar, I don't know if it's 1 or 2, and schizophrenia. And growing up was very difficult for me. I can't speak for my other siblings. I'm 100% sure it was a difficult experience for them. But for me, being as hypersensitive as I am, and the amount of information and education that I did not have as a child, nor did my family, to properly discuss such a huge, huge part of our family dynamic, it left me in shambles. For me, it was like growing up with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It was like my mother was the sweetest, coolest person, like, you know what I'm saying? Like me and my mother had a friendship growing up. It's so odd. Like I was very close with my mother. And then when she would make that switch, whenever she'll have an episode, it would be like everyone around her becomes public enemy number one. And relationships get fractured, especially over time. This was something that I dealt with from the age of 7 up until 2020, right? Growing up in that environment changes a person, especially from childhood. And it wasn't until 2 or 3 years ago in therapy session where I finally accepted, like, the things that I've experienced, the things that I've gone through, the things that I've seen my family go through was a traumatic event, but multiple traumatic events happening over a lifetime, right? And I'm still unpacking a lot of that because I've numbed myself from a lot of it. And I've come to realize why I spent so much time in my head, because as a child, I would escape into my imagination and create circumstances in my head that were more favorable than what was going on in front of me. And as an adult, I'm not fully connected to my experiences because I spend so much time thinking about what's happening or thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow and anticipating things, because I spent so much time as a child, as an adult, as a teenager, anticipating things, for my own survival. I definitely want to open up more dialogue around this conversation because the fact that I don't see it a lot, I'm wondering, is it difficult for a lot of us to speak up and speak openly about it? Because that's part of the healing process, to get it out.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.